Good day.
Good day, James.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. You?
Okay. Bit manic with lots of work going on, but always
Oh.
calm when I hear the jungle and everything chills and we get our little chat. All good.
I know there's always the jungle sounds here.
Very soothing.
So we've got an exciting show today.
We have an incredible guest, and I hope you get a lot of time with this person. He is absolutely mega. A lot of comparisons, I would say, between him and another recent huge guest we had on, Paul Oakenfold. I mean, both, across they've DJ'd everywhere, they've remixed everyone, they produced everyone, had amazing success. They've also both got Guinness World Records. I didn't actually realise until I sort of went deep into all my research. I spent a lot of time at High Magazine putting out some unbelievable Norman Cook press and Fatboy Slim press. Amazing. I mean, I won't show all of them now because we have a lot of time. And also, if you're listening to this, you're not going to see what I'm showing. But yeah, he has a Guinness World Record for the most top 40 hits under aliases, so different names. Remember, he was like Freak Power, Mighty Dove Cats, Pizza Man. I think he had like 14 top 40 hits. I mean, let me tell you, to have 14 top 40 hits alone as yourself is unbelievable. He's doing them under aliases. That record, I think, may have possibly been broken by now. Yeah, he's amazing.
Wow,
before I forget, one geeky thing, if you remember to ask him, just something I was actually thinking about the other day. I think it was on the radio. It was in my head. Remember Brimful of Asher, that incredible Corner Shop remix he did?
Yeah.
I mean, they use a phrase, he tore the out of it. He really reconstructed that. And I'm often wondering, I think there's a little change possibly in music, because I'm doing a lot of licensing at the moment. I would argue, and Armand van Helden also does this, he almost rewrote that track, yet he probably wouldn't get a writer credit for it. He just got the remix fee, or maybe he got points. But I think sometimes people who absolutely completely rework something, it's like they've rewritten it. I mean, the original of that compared to what that remix did, classic. Again, like
Interesting question.
Yeah. And the other thing I like about the other thing I noticed, which I mean, he really, again, very similar with Oki, they took sort of rock into dance and but actually Norman Cook really lived it, did it. He was in bands. So he went from the rocky, jangly, guitar-y, whether it was Beats International, the Housemartins, to the dance. Amazing actual transformation. It wasn't like a DJ who said, I'll play rock and now I play it. He did it.
Freak Power.
Yep. All the amazing videos, all his amazing appearances, the Big Beat Boutique, the Brighton Beach parties. Talking of U2, when I said, by the way, that remix of Oakenfold, weird thing I found in, I think it was DJ Times magazine, U2 calling him up once, asking him permission to sample drums of his. He did a weird sample CD, Skip to My Loops. And imagine getting that call from Bono or Bono's people. Can we nick your drums?
Yeah.
But anyway, very quickly before you do it, because I know you're going to have so much to talk to him about. I mean, I'm just showing a couple of things here. Look at him there. Go on.
This, by the way, so for anyone who listens to our podcasts, do also know that we have a YouTube channel as well. Right. So we love all the people who listen to our show, but also if you want to just see the people, if you want to see these little bits of press and old MTV clips, then do go to our YouTube channel. It's the same thing. It's Party Zone Revisited. And of course, on the YouTube channel, you can leave us comments too. We love the comments. So make sure you do that and subscribe. So subscribe to your normal podcast provider and also our YouTube. Please. Okay. Well, go on.
Spot
James,
on. You're absolutely right.
Show and tell us what you're showing.
I will do some show though, because obviously if you don't go to watch the YouTube and you don't get a bit more visual and don't look at Instagram, you're going to have a very, very good imagination. Because here is Norman from Record Mirror. There we go. Look at him there in the Housemartins, front cover of Record Mirror. I'm just going to take the specs off here so I get that. That was in 1987, 35 years ago. Amazing, right? And this is him again.
And he's still going strong.
Love it. Look, from Housemartin to Housemaster, Norman Cook in 89, again on Record Mirror. But just whizzing through this, bless you. Him with a Dalek when he was with Lindy Layton and Beats International, another Record Mirror cover. I really dug deep for these. I didn't want to touch some of these originals. Him on the front cover of Spin magazine, February 2001, looking like a kind of, remember that whole era? the kind of Spike Jones, slick, cool golfer dude. Can you see that?
He looks like a golf player in that
absolutely.
picture. He doesn't look like himself, but okay.
Chilling in Brighton, time out here from 2001. Yeah. Now, this is one of the coolest.
So much
look,
press.
I know that's what's unbelievable. I haven't even read half these, but this is where my respect for him just shot up like unbelievable. To be on the cover of Ray Gun magazine. Ray Gun was an amazing, disruptive, US, very ultra cool mag. I mean, this guy, if you think about it with Norman Cook, obviously he made the tabloids a lot through his marriage with Zoe Ball. He was just the most insane, the celebrity marriage. And this as well, look at him. Effing in Heaven from February 1999. Cover of Ray Gun does not get cooler than that. If I had a spare copy of this, or if I was Norman, you definitely frame that and hang it. Couple more, and then you can get to do your interview. Some lovely little mixed mag covers here. This one where he says, "We've come a long way, baby." This was from July 2013. He has come a long way, undeniably, from Housemartins to Housemaster to whatever. Here he is again on another mixed mag, looking really buff. Like that?
Funny. So I wonder, James, all these artists that we have on the show, I wonder if they even have all this press that you have, because it's incredible. Your High Mag magazine archive is just out of this world. And for you to have all this press, I'm sure a lot of the artists are quite jealous.
Well, if it all gets digitized very soon, they will have access. Just a couple more, because really, he was so special digging these out. A lot of time doing this. The very first issue of Heat magazine from 1999. This was an incredible celebrity magazine based on Entertainment Weekly. Look at that. Issue 1. Yeah? Couple more, and then we're done. Go on.
And one more thing that I just love, and only people who have been listening to our show all the way from the beginning may remember this point, and that is that none of this is actually it isn't like an archive where you can just type in the name and it tells you where these magazines are. It's like, no, you remember it. You go, okay, 1999, he was in and you just climb on top of these stacks of magazines and you pull out all the press. It's insane, James. Very impressive.
Thank you very much. Look at him there in combat gear. Enemy.
So he's now showing me an enemy cover where Norman Cook is looking like a soldier with a helmet on.
Yeah, combating your questions. Couple more, because really, I tell you what, I just got lost in this yesterday.
Interesting.
Fatboy Slim, saint or sellout? I mean, that's a good thing to pose to him, because, I don't think he's ever sold out, but he's so mega commercial. And look, that was from Pulse magazine, another cool US magazine from December 2. I mean, that was 22 years ago. Still relevant. Has he sold out?
Yeah.
Couple more. That one I told you about where he sampled, or U2 called him up, smoking a little cigar on the cover of DJ Times. Fatboy Slim's 10 Steps to Greater Wealth. Hold on. I'm going to whiz.
Norman Cook, 10 Steps to Greater Wealth?
Yeah, we have to ask him about something. I'll read those two. There he is. Here it is. Remember this? Okay. Fighting with Armand Van Helden in the boxing room. Do you remember that match?
Was he?
Yes. Okay. He had a little sound clash with him. Okay. Literally, we're there.
Well, that's silly.
All right, last one. Last one. Who's that dude there?
I mean, he is a showman.
Look, who's that? That's
Why?
him. Because that's Norman.
Yeah, very young.
Very young in the Housemartins. Okay. One more. Mixed mag.
He is a showman for sure, but he's I don't think he's a sellout, because he's just he's
not
just
at all.
fun. It'd be fun to chat with him again.
I look forward to it and really can't wait. Excellent.
Norman. Oh my goodness, Norman.
Simone, how you doing?
Cook.
Long time no see, baby.
I know. Let me think when I last saw you. So my youngest was a baby. He's now 16. So I think you must have been in Belize about, 14, 15 years ago?
Must have been, yeah. Isn't it so not rock and roll that we gauge time by our children's ages nowadays?
Well,
that's our only sort of barometer of when things happen. How old my children are.
Yeah, I know, but it's a clear way of doing it, right? So it's been a while since we've been snorkeling with the sharks and the stingrays.
Yeah,
Yes.
I talked to someone the other day about how you made, well, you didn't make me, you encouraged me to go swimming with a shark. I've still got a picture of me looking down very hesitantly as I get in with the shark. And yes, no, God, so how have you been? What's been
I've
going on?
been very, very well. And talking about kids, I just love seeing your children stepping in your footstep. When you sent me the video of your daughter Nelly DJing, oh my goodness, it's amazing. How do,
Yes,
how does that
no, go on.
feel as a dad?
It's lovely. I mean, it's kind of it's sort of weird because I don't want to be. I've never. Me and Zoe never wanted to be those pushy parents who kind
Hmm.
of, and we always had a dream that our children would be like kind of really boring librarians and just kind of rebel against the lifestyle. But I suppose because they've grown up with it, it feels natural that they do it. But I want everyone to know that I'm not pushing them to do it. The weirdest thing
Right.
is my son. Because Nelly only sort of did the DJing thing because of lockdown. It gave us something to do during lockdown, and then she kind of went viral. But my son, all the time that he lived with me, the first 19 years of his life, I would say, "Do you want to be a DJ?" He's like, "No." And then, even when he was kind of getting into showbiz, he'd done some TV stuff, and I was like, "Are you going to DJ then?" He's like, "No." The thing is, I'd always live in your shadow. I'd always just be your son,
Yeah.
and and which I thought was quite astute of him. And then he went off to Bristol to university, and in about a month, he's like, "Oh, I've taken up DJing," and I'm like, "Mm." All that time you lived with me that I could have helped, and but I think he wanted to do it on his own terms. So it's quite funny. So it was only when he stopped living with me and I couldn't interfere that he wanted to be a DJ.
How
I suppose that
funny.
speaks volumes about children and
I
their
know.
relationship
How
with their parents.
funny. How funny. How was that for you actually when your kids were younger? I mean, now they're older, it's fine, right? But I mean, I was always really happy that we lived here in Belize, that my kids were far away from anything showbiz and their dad's old football career and stuff. But how is it for you guys when your kids were small? Did you feel very protective over them, like with regards to press and stuff?
Yeah, I mean we always said that they're civilians. I mean, me and Zoe signed up for this life, and we signed up for having our pictures taken and stuff like that. But we always protected our children, and luckily in England there are laws, so they couldn't show their faces. But I suppose it's the nurture bit of them growing up in showbiz. I mean, Woody used to complain that he always got pixelated when our photo was in the paper. He was a bit miffed that he always got pixelated. And then the minute he turned 18,
How funny.
he threw
Yeah.
himself into a reality show where he was under constant scrutiny of everything he did for a month, locked in a room on his own.
Oh
So,
my
I mean,
God.
we spent all that time trying to protect him, and then, of course, because they've grown up in showbiz, it's kind of obvious for them to, it's natural for them to do it.
Yeah.
So I'm not so worried. I mean,
No.
I think I mean, Zoe and I both lead more wholesome lives these
Yeah.
days. So it kind of it works. I've just come back from Camp Festival where, you see children raving with their parents, and it feels like a beautiful thing to allow your children to do these things rather than going, oh, that's naughty grown up stuff. Music and raving and all of it is something that's part of the. I think the internet has meant that it's not so taboo what we do. They can see what we do, and so now I relish the idea of including our children rather than keeping them locked away from it.
Yeah. So how was your own childhood in comparison? Did in one of the press pieces that I'll play for you later, I think you mentioned that your parents were Quakers. Is that right?
Not quite Quakers, but that's the easiest way of explaining it. They were Cosmans, which is like a Quaker faith, but it's like just a pacifist,
Okay.
anti-organized religion faith. Yes, so
Okay.
that was right. Yeah, I mean, my parents they never wanted me to go into the music industry, which just made me want to do it even more. But they always loved music, so I kind of just we used to sing in the car. My most earliest powerful experience of music was when on long car journeys we'd take a break from rowing and we'd all sing when our favourite tune came on, and that my parents would like do harmonies, and we have like three-part harmony going on, and I'm like, oh, what is this feeling? My goosebumps on the back of my neck, and my heart is beating as this glorious noise comes, and we
Wow.
all sing in harmony, and it's a sort of a metaphor for life, really. that power of us all singing in harmony just turned me on to music. So that was what I always wanted to do. My dad, especially famously, didn't want me to do anything remotely involved with showbiz or music, and that just spurred me on to do it more.
But when you were in school, so this is, I think I saw this on Wikipedia. Is this true that you were learning violin together with the Labour leader, Keir Starmer?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, he was in my class.
That's weird.
It's really weird because people say, I was at school with someone, and they might have been in the same school, but, a different year or something. No, Keir Starmer was in my class for 5 years at grammar school. And we weren't the best of friends, but we did have violin lessons together.
How funny. How do you think he would be, as a leader if
Do
Labour
you want to
got
get started
elected?
on politics?
Oh, just quickly, just him, because you played violin with him. That's all I want to know.
In a nutshell, I obviously he's on the right side of the political fence for me. I think he could be a bit more dynamic and have a bit more pizzazz and a bit more passion as a Labour leader. But I would like him in power way more than our current government.
And you can go over and play the violin with him. Okay, so something completely different, and let's get away from politics. Let me just play a little video of, I think, the first time we met.
Right.
May have been.
This is going to be good.
And so this is about 30 years ago. This is crazy. So let me do a little screen share. Right. Look who I'm with, Freak Power. And I now know why they're called Freak Power. So what's going to happen with you guys next? It's so boring, isn't it? Always ask that same question. Okay, we know what happened with that. Turn on freak out, bump out, something else. Anyway, what's happening next?
We're playing concerts like this is why we're here playing a gig this evening in a beach hut.
Playing in a beach hut.
We're actually on a tour of European beach huts at the moment. What is that?
Yeah.
He's got a big hair on his nose.
No, that's his nose.
I like these guys, they're so mad. Anyway, I like these guys, they're so mad.
I do apologise for giving you a hard time, weren't we?
I never got a straight answer out of you guys. I do remember that, but you made me laugh.
That was the nature of Freak Power. Yeah, we didn't take anything seriously, and so I felt a bit sorry for you. It's like, oh, come on, give her a chance.
Oh, you haven't seen the other interview. I won't use too much of it, but oh my God, you guys were just, nuts and very flirty. And just the whole thing was just chaos. I'll show little clips of not the flirty bits. But yeah, you guys were quite a handful.
Well, in those days, I walked the walk. I didn't just talk the talk. We were out there pushing the boundaries of consciousness and trying to live up to the name of being freaks. And it was quite a how do I put this? Yeah, we were kind of living most of our lives out there.
Yes. So what happened with Freak Power? It's just that Fatboy Slim became too big.
Yes, Fatboy Slim. At the time that I started making Fatboy Slim records, I was in Freak Power. I was also Pizza Man, and I was also the Mighty Dubcats.
Yeah. And
for a while, the four of them worked in tandem in it, and I could sort of juggle the four. But then when Fatboy Slim started taking off, it just engulfed my life and my career and just took up all my time. So, Freak Power never really split up. Just Ashley sat at home for 5 years waiting for me to have time to do the next album, and it just never happened. Poor love.
Oh, bless
basically,
him.
Yeah, Fatboy Slim just swallowed up the whole of my time from then onwards.
It's funny, isn't it? And it's the kind of stuff that you were saying, I'll show you a little clip later, where you were saying that it was just the stuff you did on the side. You just kind of threw it out there. It's just tracks you did, and you gave it to friends of yours, and they kind of ran with it, and before you knew it.
It was, in those days, sort of pre-internet, you could have different aliases, and no one really knew who it was making the records, and, as long as you didn't... do interviews. So it was quite, you could be anonymous and you could be polytrachamus. But yeah, the Fatboy Slim thing just took over. I mean, at first, like, no one even knew it was me. I remember doing interviews, you might pull one out, where people said, "Are you Fatboy Slim?" And I went, "No."
No, I don't have that.
I contractually had to lie because Island Records had allowed me to do side projects, but only if I never talked about them and only if they're on independent record labels. So at first, I literally had to deny that I was Fatboy Slim. So, people twigged and people caught on, and it, like I said, it just became this sort of monster that engulfed everything else.
Wow! And you actually ended up in the Guinness World Records for having the most top 40 hits under different names. I mean,
yes.
That's how many different projects you've done.
Yeah, well, that, and I've been around a bit. Obviously, I've been in different. I've been. I'm coming up to 40 years in the biz.
Wow, amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. So I suppose it's the Guinness Book of Records for schizophrenia in your career. But I'm quite proud of that. I think that still holds, actually.
I believe so.
Hits under different names.
I believe so. So, and is it true? I think it was Ferdy who once said it to me that, according to you, for something to be really successful, it has to have a really shit name. Almost kind of like, don't think about it too much. And it seems that a lot of the stuff that has worked really well for you is almost, things you've done off the cuff. Is that right? Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, I think you probably do your best stuff when you're not trying too hard, when you're relaxed and you're having fun with it, because music's all about having fun. And if you're trying too hard, you're thinking, this is it here. And also you're always sort of chasing that sort of formula. And if there was an algorithm that could write a hit tune, then, everybody would be using it. But there's something in there that you can't quite quantify, but it does seem to be when you're relaxed and confident. Generally, it always used to be when you were making a B-side. Now, your younger viewers won't understand the concept of the B-side. But it was basically, you'd done the single, and then it's like, well, we'll just put a track on, and so, we've got 6 hours studio time, let's go in and muck about and do something for the B-side. And sometimes that would be 10 times better than the one that you'd really thought about. So, yes, I suppose, I think probably the reason that Fatboy Slim took over from all the other things was that it was the one that was most truly me.
Yeah.
I was sort of 20 years into my career and finally worked out who I was and what I was best at. And that it's not being a bass player, it's not trying to be a songwriter, and I suppose the Freak Power thing ended because we lost money every show we did, and we were sitting there asking the promoter how many tickets we'd sold every night. And then I worked out that when I DJ'd, 5 times more people came to see me DJ than wanted to see me play bass.
Right.
And I didn't have to pay the rest of the band. So it was kind of, I mean, I bet it took me all that time to realise that I'm better a DJ than I am a bass player or a songwriter.
Talking of which, let me do another screen share. And this is a little clip about DJing.
Mixmag, July 2013. When I started, DJing was not regarded as a possible career like it is now. No ideas of arena gigs. I played 5 nights a week in Brighton and still had a day job to pay my rent. We were just above glass collectors in the club food chain, totally disposable. He is, without doubt, Britain's and possibly the world's biggest DJ. An artist-performer who straddled underground dance culture, pop fame and proper pop gossip column celebrity. He's had #1 hits. He's played the Olympics, the Houses of Parliament and Brighton and Hove Albion's Amex Stadium. He's hosted multiple huge big beach boutique parties from Brazil to Japan. He's recorded with everyone from Rizzle Kicks to Iggy Pop and David Byrne. He's worked under more artist names than Damon Albarn, yet remains affably down to earth. There will come a day in the next 10 years when they don't want me anymore or I don't want to do it, but that day isn't yet.
Yeah, I don't know when that was written, but that date still hasn't arrived.
That was 2013.
Right, so nearly 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. Well, nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. I'm still really enjoying doing it, and I still or carry on doing it, and as long as people want me, and they still seem to want me, so I'm very thankful for that.
You just did Brighton Beach again, right?
Yeah.
The Big Beach Boutique. Is it a Big Beach? Yeah,
the
right?
Big Beach Boutique, yeah. Big Beach Boutique 6.
Wow.
2 was the big one, and that was 20 years ago. So it was the 20th anniversary of the really big one, and it was the first time I'd been allowed back on the pebbles, actually on the beach. It took 20 years for them to allow me to do it again, so that was great. And I'm the only thing that's kind of happened in the meantime was during lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of us had to have a long think about where we were and what we do, and not being able to do my job really kind of threw me. It's like I realized how much I'm just defined by what I do. And though the other thing that came out of it was that left to my own devices, I can do absolutely nothing. Because before, retirement really scared me, because I was thinking, what am I doing? I go nuts. I'm used to working at this level. But I did for about 8 months. I did get very, very used to not doing anything apart from sitting around with my kids playing.
Yeah.
And so I didn't go mad, but also it made me realise just how much it's part of me, what I do. I suppose if you're a natural born show off, a show off without an audience to show off to is lost, absolutely lost. And my appreciation of music and my love of music revolves around sharing it with other people.
Yeah.
Just to hear a really good tune isn't enough. I have to then turn other people onto it that hadn't heard it.
Yeah.
And so losing those things really made me stop and think about, Christ, what, this is actually part of me. It's not just what I do, it's what I am.
Yeah.
And I made a little pact to myself, or with whoever is in charge of this world, that if I could ever get it back again, that I'll never moan about a shitty hotel room or a 4-hour layover at an airport ever again. Just let me have it back, please, for a bit longer.
I love it.
So it's restored my absolute faith in that I'm doing the right thing, and luckily people still seem to want me, so I'm still allowed to do it. So I'm very thankful and appreciative and respectful of that.
Well, I think one of the things with you is that you just emanate such a joy when you're out there, when you're on the stage. I mean, I'm sure you must have had down days too, but it doesn't feel that way. It seems to me that whenever I see any sets that you've played, it's just you're so filled with joy, and that's infectious.
That's another thing I learned, because it is all about joy. It's about sharing joy and about escaping from your problems. And I'd kind of been doing that for years. And then when I've had times during my life when I haven't been feeling particularly joyful, as soon as I get on stage, I get that joy. And that's the power of what we do. That's the power of dance music, especially, to just kind of make you forget your troubles for a couple of hours, Yeah. And so when I was really down, I found, the 2 hours on stage were the only time when I didn't have that anxiety or, whatever I was suffering with. So it's even if I'm having a bad day, as soon as I go on stage, it gets good again. Yeah. And so I'm faking it. I genuinely, something very profound happens. I mean, you spend your life in front of a camera, but when you're that close to people, you just feel their energy, and then their energy feels you, and it makes you do stupider things or bigger things, and then they go whoa, and then they're woo, and so there's this kind of chain reaction. A loop, hopefully a loop of happiness and abandon, rather than just, I don't know. I was just, I don't know if you've watched the Woodstock '99 film.
No, I don't want to see that. I've heard about it. I don't want to see it.
Oh, right. Well, that brought back some weird memories of trying to engender abandon, and it becoming a bit more abandoned than I could deal with.
It's you're talking about the documentary of where things went drastically wrong, and just violence
I was right in the heart of that.
You were?
Yeah.
Oh no, I didn't even realize that. Oh right, damn.
Yeah.
Oh shoot.
Yeah, I was the one trying to get everyone to calm down, and because after the main stages, they had this rave aircraft hangar, And so I was playing on the Saturday night in the Rave Aircraft, and somebody drove a van through the middle of the crowd, and everyone just, it was getting a bit out of hand. But I like a certain chaos. I think there are limits of how far you can push it. But if it's a beautiful community chaos, it's lovely. If it's a load of like-minded people and that thing, and again, that's something we learned during lockdown, is you can listen to the same tunes really loud, having a drink on a Friday night in your kitchen, possibly whilst looking down the screen at the DJ who's playing it, and it's just not the same.
No,
it's just not the same as being in a room with other people. You have to commune with the other people, and be around other people when you do it.
Talking about being around other people and being in the same room, I so would love to have been in the room when you and Carl Cox, I don't know if you actually were in the same room, when you made your track together.
We weren't in the same room, no, sadly.
Speed Trials on Acid.
Yeah, Carl was in Melbourne, I was in Brighton, and Dan was in Detroit, the vocalist. And so it was totally done by internet, which is a shame. It's a shame because Carl's a really old friend of mine, and the amount of time we spent together, but just circumstances meant we couldn't be in the same room making it.
And I love how the lyrics of that track, they kind of talk about that same thing, you are me and I am you, and we're all together and we're one and we're getting lost in this beat. It's exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and that never changes, because people ask, switching from vinyl to digital and the way that raving's changed or whatever. I said a lot of it's changed, and the way we do it changes, but the basic primeval reason for us to all get together and have that shared common euphoria and escapism, and it doesn't change. And and I think that's one of the reasons why Carl and I are still here, why we haven't gone out of fashion, because that's what we provide, and there will always be a fresh supply of 16, 17-year-olds who want to get high and get laid.
And you still provide
we go, welcome into our world of thunder.
The soundtrack. Okay, let me play another screen share for you. I like this one. This is funny.
Front, June 2002. Is it disappointing that Fatboy Slim hasn't become rhyming slang like Pete Tong? No, but I was very chuffed to recently discover an ecstasy pill called Fatboy Slim. It just had FBS written on it. A friend of mine actually phoned me up on New Year's Eve and said, "You won't believe what I'm just about to eat." I was very chuffed. There's a hairdresser's in Brighton called Fatboy Trims, but one of my greatest honours is, as far as I know, I'm the only person I know to have a tribute DJ. I've got one called Fatboy Tim, who looks remarkably like me, has copied all my shorts, plays the same records, and is a lot cheaper than me. He gets more bookings than I do, lives in London, and is available for weddings, parties, and bar mitzvahs. Pulse magazine, December 2000. She's a 73-year-old stalker who lies topless in my front yard every single day, says Norman Cook, aka Fatboy Slim. She's put messages in the door and has broken into my bedroom and left flowers on my bed. 1 minute she wants me to make her a pop star. Next minute she's claiming she wrote all my songs in the late 50s and my house is rightfully hers. She tells me she's heir to the Habsburg dynasty and her mother was once seduced by Edward VII. She knows where Jimi Hendrix is. She is insane. And it's a bit much first thing in the morning to see her topless.
There's actually two quite remarkable follow-ups to that. After the ecstasy pill and the tribute DJ, my life was completed by having a dildo named after me. Now that is when you totally arrived.
Oh my god!
So I did top the ecstasy pill with a dildo, and then that lady turned up on not Britain's Got Talent. What's the other one? The
X Factor.
X Factor. She about a year later turned up in X Factor, the auditions.
Oh my god!
And was completely barking as she is, and they put her in the best of like the worst, basically the worst of people. Yeah. So she ended up like a sort of minor reality TV star.
Oh my god!
Crazy lady.
Oh.
But she did get quite cross after that article, because she came around and said, "How dare you describe me as your stalker?" I'm like, "Well, who the cat fits."
What else can I call you? So your life is just so wonderfully weird. I mean, do you have more like bizarre things like this?
Yes. I don't know if it's just me, or because I've been in the business so long, then eventually strange things will happen to you. But no, I'm continually gobsmacked by some of the things, or like. Not a week goes by without me just going, like, this is just crazy. And it's either kind of good things, or just strange things, like being asked to do a gardening show.
So have you written the memoir? You haven't, have you?
No.
What?
No. Few
Why?
reasons. Well, A, I can't remember huge amounts of it.
Okay.
B, a lot of the stuff that I can remember, I would not want published in a book while my parents and my children are still alive. So I would have to wait till my parents died, kill my children, then write the book.
Okay.
Because it wouldn't be for the squeamish. But also, you know what? I'm not arrogant enough to think that I've done enough to warrant a book. But it's just
funny though. I know your book is going to be funny because you always have these weird things. Like, I don't know, just.
Yeah. No, I mean, but no. People have suggested it. People have suggested it in the past, and I don't give it a huge amount of thought. Really, it's just, I don't know. It's just not me. It's not something that turns me on.
No. Okay.
And also, I don't want to admit to. You know what happened the other day?
What?
The Cher incident, where someone said, we were talking about Cher, and they said, "Oh, what's she like?" I said, "I don't know. I've not met her." They went, "Yes, we have." I went, "No, I haven't." And they went, and they said, "Give me 5 minutes." And then they showed me a whole article in an American magazine of me and Cher having a drink, with photos of us laughing and having a drink and banging on about how we spent the whole evening together. I have no recollection of it whatsoever.
Yeah.
That's kind of scary, isn't it?
Well, no, I have that too. I mean, the amount of times I see videos and I'm like, I've met that person. And I'm like, yeah, I've done a show with them. I have, same thing. I have no recollection. It's almost like your brain can only hold so much. And when you do so many things and you travel so much and you meet so many people, it gets filled up. And for me, the stuff that I remember are the moments where I've made a fool of myself, generally.
Yeah, that's the other thing, yeah. Because if I did write that, but the most interesting bits would be the really naughty stuff. Right. Which I can't, a lot of it I can't recount. And the really embarrassing stuff. That's what people want to hear about, really, isn't it? They don't want to hear. Or I don't know, sort of kind of, sometimes you sort of read things. It's like, oh, you're just name dropping this, and we did that, and we did that. And I would have to. I'd have to find a way of not putting any of the real stuff. It's either not for publication or it just sounds too wanky.
Okay, so the other thing you can do, and I gave this same advice to our friend Caroline Prothero, was to basically take some of the stories, but turn it into, something separate. It's basically said to her, look, try and turn it into like a comedy series, and just have these characters, and it's your experiences, but you put them in slightly different characters. So that was my advice. So maybe we can do that with you too. So all your crazy stories can go out, and it's not you, but it is you.
Yeah, I kind of like that. I must confess, I just watched Baz Luhrmann's Elvis film the other day.
So good.
Have you seen that? And I was thinking, I wonder how much of it's true. It's like, it doesn't really matter. The kind of the themes are there, and he's jazzed it up. And it's, you could sort of tell the story without it, without saying absolutely, all of this definitely happened.
I've planted the seeds. There you go.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So talking about hiding things from your parents and your children, let me just do another little share.
Okay.
Now you guys seem to be quite open about drugs.
Yeah,
in
right.
interviews and your music, your lyrics and stuff.
Yeah, we don't take them in front of our mums and dads.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And what did your mum and dad say?
Can I have one?
No. So do you think drugs should be
could have been.
legalised?
I think certain drugs should be
No,
legalised.
I think all drugs should be legalised, and then then that's it, no more problem. Because you make it legal, then you can make sure that everybody gets good, clean, high-quality drugs. Then you won't get people overdosing on baby laxative and all kinds of crap, or when they finally get a good hit, it kills them. You know, just make it all sorted out.
And stop all the crime that's
associated with it. I mean, it's totally logical.
The thing is, either that, or go all the way and ban cigarettes and alcohol.
Or ban everything. Make everything illegal.
Or make all of them. More of everything for everybody.
Right.
Well, there you go. This is what the stars think.
Was that true?
That's kind of how we felt at the moment. I mean, obviously we were
At
being
the time.
slightly devil's advocate
Right.
there, you know,
Yeah.
and trying to redress the balance of all the sort of negative stuff. No, it was. I don't know. I mean, what do I say? You know,
have you been teetotal?
All I can say, yeah, I've been completely sober for 13 years now.
Right. Wow.
And but then again, by the same token, I don't want to be seen as like the poster boy for sobriety. Not saying, oh God, it was horrible. You know, I had some great times when I was partying, and you know, I'm not going to deny that I had some fabulous times, but there was a time when enough was enough.
Let me play another little clip for you about festivals.
Enemy, 21st of October 2000. Questions from readers. What's the best festival you've ever played? Glastonbury is the best festival in the world. Best atmosphere. The gig we did with Tom and Ed Chemical at Red Rocks, that was pretty big, but Glastonbury rocks. I probably wouldn't go if I wasn't performing. I kind of need my creature comforts. I'm a bit old to camp now. Also, I play every year. As long as they keep putting me on, I'll keep going. As I get older, I'll get banished to some tent out in the green field.
The follow-up to that is I've still been to every single Glastonbury that's happened since 1997.
Oh my God! So you are the person who's played there the most, right?
No.
No.
That's the bad thing. That's one record I don't have yet.
Really?
No, there's a dude out of Hawkwind who's played every single one since like 1975 or something. So he's way ahead of me. So he's got to die, and then I've got to do another 15 years. But yes,
Wow.
yeah. The good news is, yes, I still go to Glastonbury every year, and I still maintain it is the best festival in the whole world. This year's one was just spectacular. It was so beautiful. I think because we just appreciated it more because we hadn't been able to do it for 2 years. Luckily, I haven't been relegated to the outer fields yet. But I played 4 shows there this year.
But you've done some funny things there in the past too, right? I remember one year you were in, was it like this tiny little mini disco, and like you do some odd stuff, right?
Well, that's one of the many beauties of it. So I headlined the Sonic stage on the Friday night, but then 3 hours later cropped up unannounced in the Rabbit Hole, which is one of those after hours tents that goes on all night. And where else did I play? And then I played at Stonebridge on the Thursday night, dressed as the Pink Panther, with Eats Everything, who is in full drag, and I played the whole gig dressed as the Pink Panther, and then did a really heavy one up at the Shangri-La at the Gas Tower on the Saturday night. So and that's one of the beautiful things about Glastonbury is there's so many different gigs. It's not just everybody sitting watching the main stage. There's so many other things going on around the fringes.
But how do you do that then? If you're not using any mind altering substances, how do you keep going? Red Bull? No. How do you keep coffee?
Red Bull and youthful enthusiasm and naivety and adrenaline. No, I just love it. I just love doing it. And I mean, the interesting thing about in that previous quote was, I'm not good at camping. I wouldn't go if I wasn't playing. It's like if I had to go there for 4 days and I wasn't playing, I might be tired or bored. But because I'm playing, I've got this energy and adrenaline, and I've got a Winnebago to sleep in rather than a tent, so I do get a good night's sleep. Not necessarily at night, but I get a good night's sleep. So so that's carried on. Yeah, it's.
And you're doing a thing at
I'm doing a thing.
Butlins.
Yep. Butlins.
I mean,
Minehead.
that's so funny, because when I think Butlins, I think like my in-laws, right? They used to do these things, and now it's all of us. Like, so either Butlins don't know what's going to hit them, right? Or have we not, like I don't know, like are we really like old now, or is are we just going to turn it on its head? I mean, I'm not even there, but our people.
It's neither of those scenarios.
Okay.
Basically, Butlins has got wise. Butlins has got hip.
Yeah.
Now they've got all these facilities at their holiday camps which aren't used during the winter. So they've realised that they can put other people in, put other tribes in. So it's not the bucket and spade brigade. It's not. It's transplanting, and they do everything from darts weekends to Chaz and Dave. Lots of reunion. There's like an 80s weekend. There's a 90s weekend. There's a 50s weekend. And basically, they invite different tribes to come and use all the facilities.
Yeah.
So you can there's beds for 3,000 people.
Yeah.
And there's venues. They've got 5 really, really state-of-the-art venues.
Yeah.
And so rather than just have them empty during the winter, they put all these different people in.
Wow.
Now,
amazing.
Most of but I mean, everyone from, I played Bugged Out and Boyzone in the old days. They used to hire out. So it's quite an established thing.
Yeah.
And it's also in the vein of the Great Soul Weekenders, which were normally at holiday camps. So it's the first time that I've curated a thing like this.
Yeah.
And I've inherited it from Madness.
Oh, really?
They've run that weekend for the last 10 years, and they've retired after 10 years of doing it.
Wow.
But they've got the same management as me, and Butlins just said would normally like to do it. So it's a bit of an experiment.
Oh, I'm sure it's going to be so much fun.
Not sure if me booking all 35 acts is a good idea, but there you go. And I'm trying to push it a little so it's not just kind of DJs. We've got people giving dance lessons. I've got an artist in residence, one of my favourite artists, who's going to paint an enormous mural during the weekend. Wow. So it's just an excuse for all the like-minded people who like me to gorge ourselves.
Yeah.
An orgy of music and stupidity and dressing up and fun.
Oh,
and, no one has to worry about. You don't have to worry about babysitters or cabs home or anything, because you just crawl back to your chalet when you're finished.
It's going to be
I
so
think
much
it's
fun.
It's not the madness that you kind of think.
What?
I mean, the weirdest thing I think is probably the mix of age groups, because what Butlins don't like is too many young people. That's why they tend to do the kind of reunion things, just because young people don't spend so much money and they cause trouble and they break things. And so we're not quite sure what the demographic of my audience is. It's everything from 10 to 50.
Yeah.
Or 60 even. So we don't know. That we'll find out.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping, again, coming back to this whole idea of community and togetherness, the idea of all the like-minded people who like my strand of fun, having them all in a location for the whole weekend.
Yeah.
Something really beautiful could happen, because I figure, like, when one of your friends meets another, and they went, oh, they're really nice, your other friend. I didn't think we'd get on. It's like, well, of course you would, because you're all hand-picked, because you're lovely people.
Right.
And so all the lovely people who follow me, you put them all in the thing together, and hopefully they might all get on,
I think it's going to be...
The energy there, I think, could be brilliant.
Great. I wish I wasn't so
It's a bit of
far
a social
away.
Experiment.
Yeah. No, it's going to be good for sure. So that's in November, right?
November, yeah. And it's called All Back to Minehead.
Nice. Yeah, I'm doing a thing with Ray from Two Unlimited asked me to come to. They're using an old bullfighting ring in Marbella, so I'm doing a 90s event with him in a bullfighting ring. So the same kind of thing. They're just trying to find new ways of using really great facilities.
Yeah.
So yeah. Let me see if I've got 2 more little clips to share with you. Let me do...
Sorry. Norman, this is a question for you. Are you ready?
Shall I go? Yeah, I'm going to be serious
okay,
now.
you can stay here.
No.
You can stay here and pull faces and stuff. Or just kind of like, lounge.
Shall I be the slinky, bold sex
So,
kitten?
Norman, you're a very busy guy. You are just like in Freak Power. You also do Pizza Man, Fatboy Slim.
Yes.
And Mighty Dub Cats.
Yes.
Anything more? Anything I missed out there?
Nothing I don't up to, no.
No, so...
Nope.
Nothing I know. So, how do you do this? How do you find the time to do all those different acts?
Doesn't go to the toilet.
I don't go to the toilet very much. I don't know, I just... I only do the others. I'd just like to say that Freak Power is my raison d'etre and my thrust of life and everything. And the rest is just when I've got spare time. I just sort of...
You're just knocking out.
Just do things at home, produce things for other people, and... I just sort of give them to my mates who run labels and they do all the rest. So, I mean, because actually making the music doesn't take very long. It's promoting it and doing gigs and everything. But I don't do that. This is my band for promoting and doing gigs, and the rest of it is just a hobby.
But you do run Southern Fried Records.
I do run Southern Fried Records, but it doesn't actually... I don't actually do anything to run it. I just...
He's an exec. He has, like, a very fast car and, you know, obviously a limitless drug supply.
Business car.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, but I don't actually... I'm not a very good businessman.
car.
I don't do business. I don't do business. I do music and drinking and DJing. Don't do business.
Okay.
Not at all.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough, we can live with that.
That's like watching you and your girlfriend and knowing that you're shagging someone else. And saying,
Why?
I don't know, Freak Power's my band. Well, no, there's me saying that Freak Power is, you know, don't worry, that's my band, and everything else is just like a little side piece. And probably within 6 months of that interview...
But how did you know at the time, right? You didn't know. So you were saying you weren't a businessman. Is that still
I'm still
true?
not a businessman, no. That's still absolutely true. My work rate in the studio has plummeted, to pretty much zero. So that's changed. No, still just, I can't do business in figure. You know, I can't even operate a laptop to do this. So I still like doing different things as well. I mean, that's one of the things in the last few years I've been to keep my interest in music. It's nice to do other things. So I've been branching out into being a bit of an art whore and collaborating with artists, and I curated an art exhibition and things like that. And things like that keep it all fresh. And and that just keeps my management busy. Keep picking the bones out of it. It's like, oh, what's he doing now? Okay. So so they do the business and I just mess about.
Got to know what you're good at, right? I mean, that makes sense. Okay, final clip I'm going to share with you.
NME, 25th of April, 1998. A bankrupt, obsessive cook, depressed, doesn't quite square up with the smiley king of Big Beat we've come to know and love. But then again, perhaps that's precisely the key to the man. When I was depressed, I tried to work out what life was about, reflects Norman, and all I could come up with was love and sunshine and laughter being the 3 reasons to be alive. Love and looking after your fellow human beings. You know, girlfriends, relationships. Sunshine was to do with the sun on your face just making you really happy, and laughter being the most excellent form of communication. I had to take stock and I decided that's what life was about, so that's what I do. The only thing I'd want to promote apart from the Friday night fun factor would be the love factor, which is that I like treating other people with love. My parents were pacifists, they were Quakers, and all they said was treat other people how you like to be treated.
That was lovely.
It was, wasn't it? I like that.
That was lovely. Yeah, none of that has changed at all.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm probably more... the only things that I didn't talk about, obviously, that I didn't know about in those days was children.
Right.
The love that you share with your family, with your own kids, has kicked everything up a notch in terms of how I feel about the world. And if I did a new album, it would be called "It's Not About Me, It's About Us."
I like that. So don't say if I do a new album. Just say when I do a new album.
When I do a new
Right.
album, I'd really like to call it that. It's not about me, it's about us, because that kind of sums up for me what the world is about. And if you're talking about politics or love or life, it's the whole point of us being on this planet is to share it with each other, and to share love and affection, community and resources and money. And I grew up during the Thatcher me generation, where it's just me, everything's about I want, you know. And currently we're going through a very bad political timing of a government that's just all about me, just a bunch of narcissists. And I want to bring it back to us. You know, that us is a far more powerful thing and a far more beautiful thing than everyone just grabbing their own little bit. So, I still believe in that sort of, idea that the world should be about love and looking after each other and making each other laugh, and it's funny because I was sounded quite evangelical in those days, whether it's about drugs or about love. And sometimes I think as you get older, you kind of get, when you're young, you think, I look at my son, he thinks he can do everything. He thinks he can change the world, have tons of hits, do this and do that. And then life kind of beats that kind of naivety and sense of wonder out of you. But I think a lot of it is still there. And the basic principles that I like making people smile and dance, and I like bringing people together, and a world full of love is a powerful and beautiful thing.
But well, don't you think though, when you look back, that's what you've done? I mean, that's been your gift to the world. It's like they say, the only reason to enter the room is to heal the room. And it's like you've come into the room and your joy and happiness and the music, you lift everyone's spirits. I mean, that's what you've done. That is your gift.
That's what I try and do. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's I
think you've succeeded.
That kind of, as I get older, I kind of figure that was my purpose to be on this planet, was to do that. There's lots of things I'm not very good at, but I do seem to be quite good at doing that. I met
bringing joy.
I met a very old journalist friend of mine that I hadn't seen for years. I bumped into him in an airport and we were chatting. And do you know Chris Heath? Do you remember Chris Heath from the old days?
Yes, I know his name, but I can't picture his face right now.
Years ago. Anyway, I met him at the airport and we were chatting, and we were talking about, and he said, "Oh, you're still self-effacing." And I said, "Well, I'm still not the world's best musician or DJ." And I said, "But go with it." And he said, "You know what you are?" He said, "You're a shepherd of moments." And I thought that was just a really beautiful way of putting it, because I'm not, a lot of what I do is taking what other people have done and just moving it around. But like you said, trying to light up the room or free the room from oppression or just banal or just, I don't know. It's not changing the world, but it's just maybe brightening it up a little bit.
You can only change the world one person at a time. Because
one room at a time.
One room at a time. And then those people come away and, when they feel happier, the next person they meet is going to be happier. I mean, it's the law of resonance. So I think that's a huge gift.
Do you know what? Do you know what probably my greatest achievement is in all of this?
Go on.
Is the number of people I made into DJs.
Ooh.
We have this kind of like imaginary clicker where I meet people at airports and they go, "You're the reason I started DJing," and some of them really famous DJs, and go, "I went to see you on Brighton Beach, and after that night I went out and bought decks and I wanted to be a DJ." So if I've turned people onto anything, it's making them want to be DJs.
Ooh.
And literally hundreds of people have told me that's why they started DJing.
And
I
great.
really take that. I get a little more filling in my heart every time I hear that.
Yeah, proper ripple effect. One last question that James asked me. Completely different. With things like, way back when you did that remix for Brimful of Asher and stuff like that, where you take a track and you completely change it. He was wondering, how does that work? Does a remixer at that point still only get a remix fee or like a writing fee when a track is completely changed? So just like I said, completely different, but still a question I had to throw in.
It depends how astute and aggressive your manager is.
Right.
Generally, no. Generally, you get paid a flat fee as a remixer. But every now and then, it's funny you should pick the Brimful of Asher as an example. That was one where, bless them, Corner Shop came back to me and said, "You know what, you really turned that into a hit. We feel we should give you more than the flat fee that you..." No, in fact, I didn't even charge, because I asked them if I could remix it. I said, "I really love this record, but I want to be able to play it in my club, and it's not fast enough, and it needs, and can you give me the parts and I'll remix, and if you like it, you can release it." But we never had, it was always just like a kind of friendly thing, so there wasn't any contract. And they came back to me and they did actually give me like a percentage of the record because I helped it. But generally, no. unless you've got a really, really aggressive manager who just goes in and demands things for you.
Good karma, though. I like that one.
But it was good.
That's
It was
very
good
nice.
karma, and they're lovely
Yeah.
people. And then
Yeah.
I think they let me put it on their greatest hits as well. Let me put it on my greatest hits, even though it wasn't my record, which is I thought was very, very gracious.
Yeah, and I do love as well, like what you said with that track, that you actually remixed it so you can play. You were able to play it out, and then with a lot of the Fatboy Slim stuff, that you were actually making the music because you wanted to have enough of these tracks to play on your sets.
Sometimes the best stuff comes out when you're not trying too hard. Like I wasn't trying to get it on the radio or have a hit. I just wanted to have my own version that I could DJ with.
Yeah.
And so that's when it's just the most natural. Yeah, I mean that was one of the most beautiful and natural little stories of just hearing a record and hearing something in it wasn't there and it coming true. And yeah, I wish all that music business was always as easy and as friendly and as that.
Yes. Yeah, especially now that your kids are behind you and entering into it. It's like you want them to be entering a nice space.
Well, I think they still believe the world's a beautiful place. If you see my son, he's basically like a kind of cartoon character of me. He's more ebullient on stage. He's more just disarmingly positive. Oh. He's more nice to everyone and friendly. He's just like kind of an exaggerated version of me.
I love
and
it.
So, and I'm immensely proud of that.
Wow.
That I suppose immensely proud that he's kind of taken on my good traits and me and Zoe's good traits rather than the bad ones.
Nice.
But he's most disarmingly positive and beautiful and trusting person that I've ever met.
Oh, I love it. Joy, joy, joy. That's what's
joy.
That's what you've spread out.
I would have taken in the 16 years since I last saw you that we were both still alive and had our health. Anything beyond that is a buzz. The fact that we're still here and still allowed to do what we love, and that you still live in a beautiful place, actually, as do I. And have beautiful children, and it's that's all you can ask for, really, isn't it?
Exactly. Norman, thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate it. It's always, well, again, a joy to see you.
Well, I feel that I should give you a nicer interview than I patently have in the past.
I've always enjoyed our interviews.
I was really sweating watching that. I was just thinking, oh my God.
Oh, come on. Yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed it. No, thank you, Norman. Really loved it.
Lovely to talk to you again. And let's not leave it so long before next time, huh?
Exactly. Cheers.